Hi, I am enjoying a day of quiet. We just finished with a ladies' retreat. Um, Many years ago, I got this crazy idea, I think it was 2020, that I wanted to do ladies' retreats at our cabin. And it was a true cabin, one bathroom, only one door that shut, bunkhouse that had bugs in it, and double bunk beds. Places for people to sleep, but you had to be a little creative. But there was something special that I found that when you get a bunch of women together in the first ladies' retreat I did, I chose people I knew, ladies I had known for most of my life, I do believe, and it was a great time. It was, and their creativity and their opinions and their talking convinced me that this is something we should do. So eventually we sold that cabin, true cabin, and came to the lake house and 4 flushing toilets, which is a big deal with women. And we can have, this last week we had 7 women, and there's some things that I've learned. And so I'm going to share with you the top 10 things I've learned by running women's retreats. And the first thing is, I start praying for God to move, and I don't have a clue which direction he's going to go, because he doesn't go right, left, or forward or backward. He sometimes goes up and down. And so when I start thinking about things in January and making plans, they change so quickly. And that's number 9 is change plans. Plans change. So this year in June, I'm always full. I'm always got kind of okay, if you have room, we'll come, but I'm full. I can only have 7 ladies, and that's with me sleeping on the floor in a blow-up bed. But in June, someone passed away that was good friends of some of the ladies coming, and it's like, okay, there would only be 2 people here. And it was also going to be a 95-degree weekend, and so instead of having women up at the lake, Jim and I decided to start redoing the deck on that heat wave, which made it very interesting. And as you well know, if married people can remodel, paint, and make decisions in house altering situations, they got a pretty good chance of making it. Number 8, diversity is awesome. So we put it out there, and people start RSVPing that they're going to come, and then some can't, and they have to change, and we end up with quite a diverse bunch. But God knows what diversity does. Look at the people and how God created us all so diverse, so different, so unique, and yet we are all the same. And number 7, I have found through the years that I do all the cooking, and then they do the dishwashing. And we went back this year to grab a friend, grab somebody, and 2 people do dishes. It's really a 2 behind, a 2 rear end kitchen is about enough. There any more people than that in there, it's a little crowded, and it's a big kitchen. But if we found that when you do dishes with people, you really get to talk, and you get to know them, and it's fun. And I don't do dishes. They do dishes. I cook. Other people do dishes. And then number 6, craft time. Okay, now I started this initially for something to do, and one of the gals that came to one of the first retreats, she was this painter, so she showed us how to paint. It was all fun. And then since then, it's been, I'm kind of on my own. And we've done a bevy of different crafts. But you know what? When people are sitting doing crafts together, they really start talking, and you really get to know people's personality. It reveals a lot about their humor when they're doing some kind of a craft. Number 5, I would get up early, and I'd come down here, and there's going to be somebody that is up getting their coffee, because I found out that's a staple in morning rising. And a lot of times I look out on the deck and somebody's got their coffee. They're out on the deck. They're just sitting watching the world go by. Sometimes they go down to the dock. Sometimes somebody will take off and go kayaking. And it's really neat to get up in the morning and watch people wake up at the lake. And it's just really different. Number 4, what happens at the lake stays at the lake. We can tell the stories and we can try to recall. It's not the same. It's not the same as when we're here and it's happening and we laugh until we cry And later we try to explain what happened, and it's just never as funny and never as special. And then number 3, this is a good one. Don't ever judge a lady by how they appear to be. So when it's late at night and people start telling stories, you find out about some of these people who seem so sophisticated become hysterical. And one of the neatest things is just sitting and laughing and telling stories. And you learn a lot about people by the stories they tell. And it's a really neat thing. We learned a lot about Jesus by the stories he told. And it's no different with a whole bunch of women. And then number 2, themes open the heart. And so one of the first years I did, the theme was being flexible, learning to bend and not break, and talking about how God really works within us so that we learn to bend and we don't snap and we don't break and we aren't fragile. We're flexible. And then the next one was about puzzles, about the puzzles in life and how I may be holding a puzzle I don't want to put together. I may be holding a puzzle piece that doesn't fit in my puzzle. I may be having my puzzle is all done and there's a gap, there's a hole there. And then we may look at our puzzle and I don't like that puzzle. I don't want to, that's not the puzzle I thought was on the box, and I get it put together. That's not what I thought I was putting the puzzle together for. So themes are important. Last year's was bloom where you're planted. You are planted somewhere to bloom, not to argue, not to whine, not to fuss, but to grow and to bloom, even if it's in the crack of a sidewalk. This year's theme was compassion. In thought, in prayer, in word, and deed. And how do we become a more compassionate person? We talked a lot about the Good Samaritan. Take the word off good. The Samaritan who made a choice. He made a choice to see someone that had a problem. The other 2 chose to see but didn't let their eyes linger. And if your eyes don't linger, your heart won't go there. But I think the biggest thing I have learned, number 1, is there's something about laughing together. You know, there's something about going out on the lake on the pontoon and singing and laughing and telling stories. There is something about laughter that is a glue. It bonds people together. And I feel bad for people who don't know how to laugh because it is a bonding agent. And there's something about laughter that opens the heart. There's something about laughter that opens the mind. But there's also something about laughter that sticks you together with people. And I can tell some of the funnest times I have had with some of my friends, we sit and reminisce about something ridiculously crazy that happened. And we get to laughing again, even though it's 30, 40 years down the road. The Lord gave us laughter, and it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. So as I'm reflecting on the ladies' retreat, I have another one in October. I'm excited to see who comes, how God will work, how God will use the diversity of us to bless each other, to encourage each other to grow, and to help us clothe ourselves with compassion, first of all, and then kindness, gentleness, goodness, and a lot of other things that God wants us to do. And finding out that when we sit around and talk with other women, we're all pretty much alike. We may look different. We may come from different backgrounds. We maybe go headed down different roads, but we sure are a lot alike.